Welcome to episode 8 of the Matlock podcast. No monsters.
In this week's episode, Madeline is tasked as a double agent by Julian as she tries to help Olympia with a case involving other moms at her kids' school. Her search for documentation that will prove who hid the evidence about opioids hits a snag when someone else lifts her papers from the printer in a mundane but potentially catastrophic twist. With matters reaching a boiling point, Madeline has to try to recover them and keep a lid on Olympia's growing outrage at the same time. But can she do it without damaging any of the relationships she's so carefully built?
I forgot to leave my card. No use kissing ass if no one knows the lips are mine.
Good morning, Ian. How are things?
Not too bad, Gerry. How are you?
Yeah, my ass is good.
Well, that's always good.
Yep.
You worried about the monsters?
No.
Mid-season finale, apparently. I think this is as far as the broadcast has reached in the United Kingdom.
It is?
At the point of recording.
When is it due out, the next one?
No idea. I really despise school mom culture and soccer mom culture and all that. It's every time you see it, and it must be legitimate because you see it so often on film. It must exist somewhere, but makes my skin crawl.
Yeah, it's a bit itchy.
Yeah. Who cares what goes on at your kid's school?
Well, I mean, you should sort of care. But no, you're not getting these people right into the PTAs
and bake sales and all that stuff. Judging one another.
Little cliques and...
It's like, who's ignored who at the school gate?
It's childish.
Why did you look at me that way?
Well, the drama. Bugger off.
Yeah.
I've got time for this.
Speaking of drama, you can find us on social media at Colombo Podcast on Blue Sky and X and Facebook. You can find show notes for each and every episode on colombopodcast.com. And if you want to hear next week's show 1 week early, head to our YouTube channel, Colombo Podcast Productions, where we release 1 week ahead of the podcast all the time until we run out of episodes.
Do you want to go to school?
Sounds like a good idea.
Let's crack on.
So in this week's recap, we are reminded about Madeline working on Welbrecht's, Billy's failed proposal, Julian's shocking confession, and Madeline getting access to Senior's laptop password. For such a big company, it's very low-fi that they have to have an individual laptop password.
Yeah. We find ourselves at a new location. We're outside Alfie's school, where Madeline is giving him some advice on being a witness. For what?
Well, we get a bit of a misdirect initially because you hear her coaching as if she's talking to a real witness in a real case. But no, it's Alfie's mock trial and she would not miss it for the world.
This must be a private, posh school thing. I mean, who has mock trials?
I did mock trial every year at school.
Did you?
With national competition. We were national champions 4 years out of the 6 I was at school.
Really?
Yeah. We went to the UK's.
Is this not just a debating club thing?
No, it was actual mock trials. You got actual cases and people played witnesses. People were advocates.
There you go. I'd never heard of such a thing.
Yeah, my school won the Scottish Championships 4 times and were second and first 1 year because we had to enter 2 teams because they were short. My
school, on the other hand, won a lot of football tournaments.
Well, I don't know we've got some professional footballers coming out of our school, but I don't know.
Yeah, they're very low level compared. Anyway, okay. What's happening here?
We kind of flip back and forward now between Alfie's school and the twins' school, Olympia and Julian's kids.
Yeah, we see her briefly walking the twins to school before returning to Madeline, telling Alfie not to let a kid called Jackson bully him or annoy him.
It seems like he's getting bullied anyway. And he's not to let him get under his skin. That's difficult advice to take.
But all he wants, he's more concerned, and this is quite sad, he's more interested or worried about Madeline getting this email attachment that they've been after.
Of course he is, because he's getting bullied at school and he needs something else to focus on that's not how miserable he is every day when he goes to school.
Yeah, but perhaps what he's doing here and just hanging around with his gran and grandfather all the time, get a life, son. This is what you've created.
Maybe.
Yeah, you go play with your friends. Oh, I can't. I've got to go back and help my granny get an email attachment from. So it's like, what? Do you want to play baseball or whatever it is they do? No, I don't. I've got an email attachment to find. I'm on the dark web.
Maybe it's the other way around. Maybe it's because he doesn't get invited to these things that he started spending his life on his computer.
Well, maybe cause and effect and all that type of stuff. I don't know. Yeah, but he needs a life. He shouldn't be hanging about. And she is obsessed. And it's not healthy for him to follow on her path.
I think it's quite obvious, and I don't think the show's trying to hide the fact that this is not a healthy pursuit for either Madeline or her family.
Yeah.
Meanwhile, Olympia is telling her son that she will leave his diorama that he's forgotten at the front desk.
We also find out something about Senior here.
What's that?
He's in Europe.
Okay.
So she thinks that she will be able to, this will enable her to...
Oh yes, this is Madeline tells Alfie that she'll be able to get access to the laptop. This is it. This is the big moment.
She has...
And they're convinced, I think, that this is the document.
Because he's it's just, again, as you said, it's just so old-fashioned. He is physically not there, therefore I can get access to this system.
Yeah, that is maybe in the 90s or the early 2000s.
Anyway, she's happy that she has his password and a bottle of scotch.
Not the one that he gave her at the end of the party, though.
No.
Because she already smashed that last week. Yeah. After dropping her kids off, Olympia meets another one of the moms, a woman called Lacey.
So we should also say that Julian is bringing Madeline back onto a Will Brexa case.
Yes, so he's not done with her, obviously.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so tell me about Olympia and who she...
Yeah, Lacey, this woman, another one of the moms at the school, who's in a similar situation. Her kid has forgotten something as well, and she wonders, and Olympia agrees that they do it to punish them for working too much.
Yeah, I think they swap tales of parenting woes and how busy and hectic their lives are. I think actually it's important that she mentions just now that she has not been at the school for a while. She's sort of neglected
in the last month or so, yeah.
Yeah. She goes on to mention how her husband James is having dinner with their elderly neighbours whose nanny is sick.
Yep.
A nanny? It's a bit patronising. A nanny's for kids. A carer, perhaps, or whatever.
Makes sense, doesn't it? Yeah. Olympia at this point comes up with this plan to, I think, have her childminder or
Rosie,
nanny,
yes,
pick up Lacey's kid as well as her own to bring them all up to Jacobson Moor for a pizza evening.
And she gratefully accepts before heading off. And just then, we see a tearful woman. I think her name is Nadira. This was uncomfortable. She addresses Olympia as Mrs. Olympia.
Yes.
And
that's a little bit colonial, isn't it?
Yes, very much so. And apologises as she asked for her help after being fired by Mrs. Charlotte. Surely you should tell her, it's Mrs. Smith or whoever her name is. It's not Mrs. Charlotte or Miss Charlotte.
I don't know, maybe this is tradition.
Yes, in the slave era.
Yeah.
Yeah, so she's been fired by Mrs. Charlotte for something that she didn't do.
Well, she wants to change a lawyer?
Here's the thing, well, we can mention this at the end. Olympia works for, again, a high, a prestigious New York-based law firm.
Yeah.
Her rates will be incredible. There's no mention of, could you help me for free, by the way, because I'm a nanny and I'm not going to be paying $1,000 an hour or whatever it is.
But she does say that she knows Olympia, it helps people, and she's always been nice to her. And we do find out that she used to work for Olympia at some point. And
yeah, she helps people for money. That's her job.
Yeah.
Olympia at this point, I think she turns and she looks at Charlotte, who's part of I've noted here, a Mean Girls mom group.
I remember back when I was doing lawyering in these circumstances, what you would always, or what the criminal lawyers in particular would always do, is they would have a stack of legal aid forms with them. And as soon as you start talking to them, they get you to sign the form so it's covered by legal aid for your initial consultation.
Quite right. So they're a few metres away and Olympia does agree to talk, but not here on the street.
Up in the office, Madeline, who's now arrived at work, is surprised to find Stuart in Senior's office because she thought that when Senior was away, Stuart worked from home.
But no, Senior wants him in the office, European hours.
Yes, 3 a.m, which is 8 a.m. in Europe.
And so all she can do
or
is...
9 a.m. if it's continental Europe.
All she can do is leave her thank you bottle and a promise not to disturb Stuart after 12 p.m. He'll be going to his bed.
We see her put something else back in her pocket as she approaches Senior's desk, and she then, she pumps Stuart for information about when he's going to disappear.
She is then met in the corridor by a frantic Sarah, who wants her to do her spells and fix the broken Billy.
Yeah, Claudia's broken him, and although Madeline's supportive, she says she's not able to do actual magic.
Not a witch, no. And I think we've seen this over the last few weeks. It's a genuine concern about Billy from Sarah.
Yeah, yes. So, I mean, I have concerns about Billy and Sarah that we can talk about later on, but in regards to the relationship between them, yes, Sarah clearly does care about Billy and wants him to be better. So
Maddie's not sure that she can help, and when she walks into the office, the threesome or the youth three office, Sarah points at the headphone wearing shell of a man who is as fragile as a Forever 21 t-shirt.
He reveals to them that his headphones are not noise cancelling and he can hear them talking about him, but has to confess that he is listening to very sad music.
What was that?
The first 2 Adele albums.
Sad in more ways than one.
This tells even Madeline that he's not okay.
Yeah, I think Sarah slips back into her previous character when agreeing that it's fine not to be fine, but requests that he keep the not fine part for outside office hours.
Well, this fits with what she says later on. We can maybe get to when she is a bit clearer about it. But yeah, she doesn't want Billy to appear upset at work.
All he can say is that he wants to know why he was dumped. Nothing happened. There was no cheating. And this remark hits home for Olympia, who has just entered, and she brusquely tells them she needs them in the meeting room and that Julian will have to understand why she's seconding them.
Well, and Madeline in particular, who had been expecting to work on Well Brexit today.
Yeah.
In Olympia's office, Nadira explains her situation.
Yes, she is the nanny.
Yes.
And tells how a post on the parenting forum, Eyes From Afar, it's a dreadful forum name, has made claims about her apparent treatment of a kid that she was looking after in the park.
I've got a lot of problems with this, but yeah.
Apparently, this website is run by privileged parents and makes the nannies feel like they're constantly being spied on.
Billy's quite upset about this as a concept.
And after this unusual emotional outburst, Madeline asks her to provide some more detail.
What did the post accuse you of?
There were several photos. One made it look like Nadira was yelling at Hayden.
But we were really playing no monsters. It's just a silly game.
And then there's this one.
Hayden was about to run into the street. It's ridiculous. I would never hurt him. But now no one will hire me. I can't even get an interview. I send money back home to my family. I'm supposed to make enough to send for my kids to come over. It's been a year since I've seen them.
I'm so sorry. You shouldn't have to choose between providing for your children and being with them.
We'll file a cease and desist. Get the photos removed from the site. This will allow you to get a new job sooner rather than later. Maddie, let's go talk to Julian. What's Billy's deal?
Claudia rejected his proposal.
Well, people let you down. Better he know now.
Dropping Maddie off?
No, she's with me today. I'm filing a cease and desist against Eyes From Afar on behalf of Nadira Freeman.
Wait, Nadira Charlotte's nanny?
Technically, Charlotte's children's former nanny.
Getting involved in school drama is the death wish.
It's not drama, it's a legal case.
A legal case that will get back to the Mulberry Prep moms. What do you call them, the nanny cams? Jill Clark is on the board of that Big Brother nanny website.
Which is why Maddie will be the face of the case. Jacobson Moore is a huge firm. If Maddie argues a motion, no one will know I had anything to do with it. Come on, you know Nadira.
Yeah.
She watched the twins before.
And I feel badly for her. I just don't want it to affect our family.
Oh, so now you're prioritizing our family?
Maybe I should step out.
We're going. Come on.
I'll bring you up to speed on Well Brexit later.
We should say that Madeline looked horrified at the idea of being made the face of this particular case.
Yeah. Yeah, she doesn't want to be the face of anything, obviously.
No, she wants to keep a low profile if possible.
Outside the room, she follows Olympia and nervously reminds her that she's only been in court once in the last few decades, but Olympia has confidence in her, but admits that Judge Caggiano is a very strict First Amendment type with an eye for detail.
She recommends that Madeline does not deny the right to free speech, but argues that those rights are outweighed by the harm that's being caused to Nadira, but not to let anybody know she, Olympia, is connected to the case.
Yeah, so Madeline thinks that she will not allow the photo to be taken down on grounds of free speech.
Yes, but Olympia's got an anecdote that maybe suggests otherwise.
What was that?
The judge apparently is, as she says, a hardline First Amendment rights advocate. I could have said that slower, couldn't I? But that didn't apply when her nephew was arrested and had his mugshots all over the internet.
Well, it says mugshots pulled, but pulled from where? That's a question I had.
Apparently the police website, I guess. I don't know.
Really? Did you put mugshots up in a police website? I don't
Some
think.
places do, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I've seen it before. Obviously, you get the celebrity ones that's pretty famous when they get arrested. But yeah, I'm wondering where they get that from.
I think there is a police website or some kind of authority-based, maybe court website.
Yeah, I think it was some sort of minor public intoxication, but an embarrassing incident.
Yes.
So, yeah, as you say, Olympia advises that she doesn't try to deny the free speech issue, but just emphasise the...
Yeah, the balance.
We head to the courtroom where the defence counsel is in fact putting forward the free speech argument. And before she hands over to Madeline, she demonstrates this by calling her a shark.
Yeah, it's a fairly, I'm not sure what the right word is, pointless exercise.
Well, she's making the point that you can say something, you're free to say that.
Yeah.
But in this case, who is the defendant? That's what I asked it just now. So who's being...
So presumably it's on behalf of the website at this point, because they're asking the website to take the images down.
Yeah.
Yeah. That would be my
But
guess.
the website's not there. They haven't established who's behind it.
They haven't established who put the photos up.
Oh, right,
So this gets discussed later on. So they're trying to make this case against the website for publishing it.
Mm-hmm. Madeline stands and admits that she is in favour, in principle, of free speech, but she wants it limited in this case. And they both argue points back and forth in front of the judge. And realising that she may be losing, Madeline resorts to what?
Well, she references the mugshot story, and
I think this is, a stupid move by Olympia and Madeline.
yeah. But what the judge says doesn't make sense either.
What's that?
She says my nephew deserved what he got. Well, why are you pulling the mugshots in?
Yeah. Maybe as a favour to her sister or brother.
Yeah, maybe.
But she doesn't care.
No. And from Madeline's invocation of this story, she knows who is behind the case.
Yeah, this whole tactic, this strategy is a shambles.
Yeah, this also doesn't make sense. Why would Olympia know this story, and why would the judge know that Olympia knows this story? And
Courtroom gossip, I don't know.
so how would the judge know who knows? Like she's saying, because you've mentioned this, I now know that Olympia is behind this case. What are the circumstances where that's happened?
Yeah. And so back at Jacobson Moor, Madeline has to phone Olympia, who is handing in the school project for her son, and explain what she did and the outcome.
Yeah, Olympia's not upset about this because she knew it was a risk.
She's quite sanguine about it. I think maybe perhaps because it was her idea.
Yeah. And she's then, whilst on the phone to Madeline, set upon by some of the other parents.
The angry mean girls.
It's so stupid,
including Charlotte.
Oh, we haven't seen you around here. You're too focused on your work.
This is, honestly, it's like sort of high school teenage. Why is Julian worried about upsetting these people? I don't care if that upset them. Like,
I suppose in case it bounces back on the kids. But
in case people call you smelly pants when you're working and don't play with you at break time. I mean, what is...
Dip your pigtails in the inkwell.
Yeah, why would you care?
Back when you were at school anyway.
Got other things to be worrying about.
Yeah, no, absolutely.
Anyhow.
Madeline offers to give Olympia a cast iron alibi if she decides she wants to harm any of those women.
Yes. Well, I think so. Charlotte wants to know why she is defending an abuser. She seems very dramatic.
Well, is this the point to talk about this? Because this reaction is bizarre to what we've seen, like 2 photographs, and she's explained them quite reasonably.
Yeah, I think
and everyone's just calling her an abuser and refusing to employ her.
Yeah, they're just irrational arses.
Yeah. Well,
I think maybe this is the thing, right? I'm going to suggest that perhaps because they are all involved in PTA, they've got boring lives.
I suppose, and this is what they talk about in the gossip.
It's like an else. You create. Some people like to create drama, create gossip. It's something to do. It's something to bitch and bully and chat about. They're nothing else. They're soccer moms. They're dropping their kids off. They've probably got rich husbands, and they're just going for lattes and what have you, back and forth. It said at one point they're a PTA meeting during the day, so they're not obviously working. This is what they do with their time.
Yeah. Olympia thinks that they being she and Madeline and the plaintiff's team, need to come up with a new tactic. They identify the individual involved and sue for defamation.
Do you think there should have been a scene where Nadira said, I'd love it if you could help me, but I have no money because I'm a nanny. And she goes, we'll do it pro bono, or don't worry about that, we'll deal with it later. Because there's this assumption here that Nadira just walked in, asked for help.
From a very prestigious law firm.
And there's been no discussion about how this will be paid for.
We already know that Olympia's been wanting to take pro bono cases because they can pay off for the firm. That was established early on.
Yeah, but Nadira doesn't know this.
She does, because she did work with their kids.
No, you don't assume that you'll take... That's
she's maybe not assumed, but she's felt that she can ask.
Yeah, but I think that's something I'd like to have seen a scene where they discuss it and go, I'll do this for you. Here's how... Because I'm thinking, how's she going to afford this?
Because even if she wins, surely the payout from this isn't going to be... Well, maybe 9 million again. I don't know.
9 million. Oh, no, I should have said, last week I forgot to do my now weekly rant. So Jessie, was Jessie last week?
Yeah.
Lost a kidney and her career because of shakes.
Yep.
And she was offered 50 grand, first of all, then what was it? quarter million. Did it go up to 500?
No, never got there.
$250,000 for losing a kidney and having your career ruined. Alex, 9 million. Oh, I just want to make this clear. I'm not saying Alex should not have got 9 million, but what I'm saying is there should be a scale that everything should be comparable. So if she gets 9 million for that, losing your kidney, I would want more.
Yeah.
Losing your kid, I would want more. She's got the best deal we've seen so far.
Alex has. Well, if she got the 9 million, yeah.
Yeah, well, it was awarded, that's what I'm saying. We don't need
Yeah.
anyhow. So she gets whatever the settlement would be in this case. There's been no discussion. She's going, I can bring my kids over. And Olympia's like, no, you can't. Because once I take away my fees and everything else.
You get nothing.
I want to know what the financials are behind this.
Well.
Anyhow, where were we?
Olympia says that they need to speak to Julian, but Madeline is uncomfortable being put in the middle of whatever is going on between them.
And so after a beat, Olympia decides to open up and tells her about Julian's cheating. She feels for her, but when Olympia tries to relate as she thinks her husband cheated as well, I think we can see Madeline feel quite guilty about the lie.
Yeah, you feel bad almost for Olympia here because she is genuinely thinks that she has a friend in Madeline who is just playing her to get what she wants.
I mean, she's an atrocious character.
Yeah, she's an
all the
appalling
lies.
person.
Yeah. I mean, she has been manipulating not just the position and not just the work environment. She has been and does manipulate these heartfelt emotions of the people around her.
Do you think if it was Olympia who hid the documents that she is then justified in treating her this way?
I don't know. Maybe if she turns out to be a right badging, then perhaps. But
it's tricky. Anyway, she tells Madeline that she is not sure she can bear to be alone with Julian and isn't sure she wants to know who he got involved with, which Madeline responds by saying that there's no good answer when there's no good options.
And she has to find the best way to cope with
something she can handle, something she can live with. But they then have a weird conversation about whether they would have hugged if they were in the same room. Yeah,
and Madeline offers to stick by her when she talks to the dum-dum.
Philandering dum-dum.
And before hanging up, she asks about the doctor's appointment.
Yeah, Madeline's lied about why she has to be out of work that afternoon.
Yeah, and she tells her that it is in a few hours and she's taking a quick break for food as her blood sugar is low.
That's a convenient line that she can throw in whenever she wants, isn't it? After checking for Stuart, Madeline then accesses Senior's computer.
Yeah, because we see that on this call, she's actually in Senior's office. She's not taking a food break.
Yep.
She uses the password, logs into his laptop and prints the attachment, firstly without opening it.
Or looking at it. That's a really weird...
Or even looking at the file type.
Yep. Just print that. No one would do that. No. That ever had used a computer. You'd open it first or get a preview of it and then you would see it's not what you wanted. No drama.
She does, however, a problem that I'm sure we can all relate to, where you send it to a printer and then don't know which one it's went to.
Well, I can't say I've ever had that problem. But
really?
Yeah.
Okay.
We only have 3 printers here.
Yeah.
Anyway, she now needs to go and find printer 511, at which point Stuart returns.
And she manages to cover by claiming to have forgotten to leave a card with the bottle, as we heard at the top of the podcast.
Fortunately, he's on the phone with Senior and doesn't even have time to listen to what she's saying.
And so she heads to the printer room, but the place is absolutely chaotic. I think there's a bit of dramatic license here because it's incredibly busy, and she feels sick when she eventually finds the printer, only to discover that there is nothing in the tray, and she assumes that the incriminating paperwork is now in someone else's hands.
The woman in the print room shows her how to find out who printed right after her. That's the most likely person to have picked up her document with their own. It says Olympia Lawrence assistant. They're not even entitled to a name on the system.
In the lunch area, an agitated Julian listens as Olympia tells him about the cease and desist motion that was denied and that they are going for the John Doe behind the forum.
Yeah, she also refuses to let him move the conversation to a private setting.
For a second, I thought maybe Julian was actually doing this behind it all.
Really?
Yeah. Just the way he was so... It seems quite irrational that he's desperate for her not to do this.
Yeah, he also sighs when she says she wanted to pull the twins from the school. Wonder if it's one of the other moms who he's had the affair with.
Well, yeah. And he's very stressed about how the mean girls will react and reminds Olympia of this after she talks about, pulling the pulling the twins.
Yeah.
In the U3 office.
Yes, Olympia is there to get them started on this John Doe brief.
Finish the John Doe brief?
We don't need it, because I have this friend in tech.
Why'd you say friend in tech weird?
I did not mean to. Anyway, I asked her if she could help us find out the person behind the anonymous account that posted Indira's pictures.
What? Could she?
Yeah. I mean, I asked her if it was above board, and she said theoretically, which I took to mean don't ask any more questions. Here's the email address.
Wait, Tessa Talks 25 at AOL. Gotta be Tessa Winters. She's one of Charlotte's good friends, but why wouldn't she just tell her about Nadira?
Maybe Charlotte is the kind of person who shoots the messenger. Or maybe they're in it together and she wanted to fire Nadira and needed a reason. Or Tessa thinks that Charlotte wouldn't believe her. Or she made it up.
Slow down, I can't hear myself think.
Same.
Okay, time to ask Tessa some questions. As long as you're okay.
Billy's fine. His favorite sports team got crashed. Man, am I right? We are ready to interview Tessa.
Actually, transparently, I'm not currently operating at 100% battery.
No problem. Everyone's human. Thanks for telling me. Actually, I should do the interview on my own, since I know her.
My friend in tech. I quite liked Olympia's.
Yeah, she's got no idea what's going on with Kira.
So she leaves and Sarah skills at Billy, who has put his headphones back on. And on the stairs, the now frantic Julian catches up with Madeline and wants her help de-escalating the situation between Olympia and the school.
Yeah, I think he's concerned things are going to blow up, and I suspect he's mostly worried it's going to reflect, or not reflect, but impact the children in some way.
Mm-hmm. She tells him she doesn't want to get stuck in the middle of their situation, but accepts that she is on Olympia's side. However, he just wants her to be neutral, as he thinks this school issue could be problematic and that he is unable at this point in time to talk to his ex. So she asks him what he wants her to do. And after thinking, he delivers a thinly disguised quid pro quo arrangement based around them working together on the Will Abraxa case. And he needs to know that he can count on her. So he's basically saying,
leveraging her a wee bit, yeah.
Yes, if you want to work with me in the future, I need to be able to trust you. So prove that you're Team Julian.
It's a bit unfair.
Yeah, he's putting her in a very awkward position. But that's politics at the top of these.
To be working in pharma. Right after this, we see Madeline approaching the assistant who was referenced on the printer.
Yes, and she finds out that Olympia is currently in an interview that must be with
Tessa.
Mm-hmm. So she tries to take I think she sees the file sitting on the assistant's desk.
Yes, she recognises it as a brief that Olympia is working on.
But the assistant declines this help, and so Madeline says that she will simply wait for her and takes a seat outside the office. And as she does, she receives a text.
Yeah, Edwin starts sending a series of increasingly passive-aggressive texts about hoping she's on her way to the school.
And in the office, Olympia is trying to question Tessa, while her work-from-home lawyer is on the line along with his kids.
Yes, and he's quite distracted.
Yeah. She asks why someone would post the photos from her email account, but is told not to answer by her representative.
She says that she never uses this email. It's an old one, it's for online shopping, and it's not her. She's not involved. She didn't post the photos.
And she laughs at the suggestion her husband would be involved with any nanny drama, and is then asked where she was at 10:40 a.m. on the day the photos were uploaded.
She is.
However, before she answers, we head back out to Madeline, who is trying to persuade the file guardian that she needs to get someone to investigate a terrible smell. But just then, who arrives?
Tessa's husband, Mark.
Is it James? Mark?
Mark.
Is it Mark? Okay,
sure.
Yeah, James is
the kid.
He appears to be a complete arse.
Yes.
Just looks us up, acts us up.
Absolutely. And he confirms that he wasn't involved in the posting of the images when Olympia comes out, and Tessa puts the question to him.
Yeah, I think he accuses Olympia of being overly aggressive.
The assistant leads these two out, giving Madeline the opportunity to grab the file. However, she's not first to get to it.
Who is?
Olympia. She picks it up, puts it in her briefcase, and says she's going to court, which leads Madeline to make a big decision.
She also tells Madeline that she believes Tessa.
She does.
And as she's talking to her, Madeline gets another text from Edwin.
Yeah, increasingly pressing.
Now, what's Olympia's new approach or tactic?
She's going to court to get the website to reveal who posted the images.
Well, the ISP to provide the IP address of the poster.
Which Madeline can't allow her to do alone, because she'll find the documents that Madeline printed in her file if she loses sight of it.
Yeah. She also has to deal with the judge again if she's going to do this.
Well, there's that.
So how does she ensure that she gets to go along with?
Well, she says that she'll accompany her and look after her stuff, and she texts Edwin and asks him to apologise to Alfie.
F Alfie, yeah.
No, she doesn't really care. But then she's doing this for Alfie in her mind. So
Now in front of the judge, Olympia starts by apologising, but the judge takes it as a way of getting it on the record that she can't be impartial. And she then proceeds to do the work of the defence attorney by referring to a law which seems to protect the rights of websites from liability. I talked to you about this recently. I read a book called, I think it's Conspiracy. It's about the Gawker, the Gawker and the Hulk Hogan, and that terrible, horrible guy, Peter Thiel, who's behind it. He's a right wrong. And I think in that case, it's like you want everyone to lose. They're all horrible creatures.
Giant meteor strike, please.
Yeah. But it was an interesting just on this and the rights to privacy and public, freedom of speech, etc.
While this is going on, Madeline is talking to Nadira in the corridor about her kids.
Yeah, she's trying to reassure her before asking about the children, who she says are 5 and 3 and lived with her mother.
Right.
Madeline mentions that she herself is raising her grandson after her daughter passed away, and that he talks of his mother all the time and she won't be forgotten. So I think she understands.
It's not directly analogous, is it? Other children might not think the same way.
Yeah.
So, back in court, Olympia tries a new tack and dives into the difference between what she did by revealing the judge's personal situation to Madeline with what the website has done.
Okay, yeah, so what is this? What's the difference here? Or why is it okay for...
What she said was true. So whilst it's bad form for her to do it, it's not wrong legally in terms of...
She has the right to do it.
She has the free speech rights to do it, but what she doesn't have the rights to is false speech. So if it hadn't been true, she couldn't have said it in that way.
And despite protests from the defence, the judge agrees with her opinion.
Yes, we hear her on the phone with Sarah.
In the car afterwards, yeah?
Yes. And Sarah has already got to work in processing this.
Now, that's very quick to get.
Oh, she's very good.
Yeah, it's not how good she is. She can ask for it, but she went to the ISP and they've given her this information immediately.
Yep, and the ISP shows that the image was posted from the school.
Yeah, the school library. So this means that's where they're heading in order to try and have a look at the sign-in sheet for the Monday when the photos...
date when it happened, yes.
Yeah.
So, yeah, Olympia and Madeline are both heading that way, and whilst in the car, Madeline offers some friendly advice.
What's that?
She says not to light everything up today while she's emotional, but to do it tomorrow when she's not as caught up in it. I don't think Olympia seems like she's out of control.
No, but Madeline's saying this for a reason. It's not to necessarily to help her.
Yeah, but Olympia seems to accept it as if it's reasonable. Anyway, Madeline offers to go into the school in her place.
Yeah, she asks for a protein bar. And Olympia nods to her bag, from which Madeline removes the file in front of her and tells her it's part of the plan.
Yeah, she needs to take papers with her.
And so we see this plan being put into practice when she arrives at reception.
Welcome to Mulberry Prep.
Hiya. Hiya. I'm Luca's Nana, the nice one. Don't get me started on the other side of the family.
Sign in right here.
Oh, no need. I'm not staying. Luca forgot his snack, and I was hoping you wouldn't mind giving it to him. He's young, but he's not too young to get hangry.
I'll pass it on.
Terrific.
But we have 5 Lucas. Which one?
Which one do I look like?
Amber's?
Bingo. Our genes are strong, which is probably why his other friend... Oh.
Are you all right?
Oh, I'm so sorry for the dramatics. Could I have some apple juice? It's my blood sugar. Always the damn blood sugar.
I'll be right back.
Okay. Thank you.
Hope you don't mind that it's room temperature.
Oh, thank you so much. Done? Hit it, Louise.
Copy that, Thelma.
Later, at the U3 office, Olympia explains to the twosome that Tessa's name was not on the list, but that there was a PTA meeting and that they have to look for anyone with a connection to Nadira.
Yes, after she goes, Billy wants to know why Sarah won't be nice to him, but she explains that this is her way of being nice.
She also has other advice.
Yes, she says that whilst Claudia has broken his heart, he shouldn't allow her to break his potential for long-term earnings.
Looking like a true capitalist.
And that ties in with what she said earlier about not appearing not okay at work.
Yeah. I think what started that was that Billy didn't bother to stop eating his chocolate when Olympia came in.
Yeah.
In the corridor, Olympia and Julian are putting on a professional face and agree that they have to act with the kids' interest at heart. They approach Rosie, their nanny, and thank her for looking after James in addition to the twins. So they're in Olympia's office, maybe eating pizza.
She hands over a book of matches that she took from James, who said he'd got it from Lacey's purse.
And there's a pregnant silence for a moment before Rosie asks if it was true about Tessa being behind the posts and admits that the nannies have heard about it, that they hear everything, word travels fast.
This is a trope, isn't it? The underground network of...
Yeah. What, nannies?
Not always nannies, it's always something though, isn't it? Oh, these guys know everything.
It's a bit upstairs, downstairs.
Yeah.
And so Olympia asks if she has heard anything that could help them figure out who is behind it. But a second ago she said, is it true about Tessa? So why would she have heard anything else? She thinks it's Tessa.
She thinks it's Tessa, yeah, it makes no sense. Anyway, she says that the nannies believe Tessa's husband to be having an affair.
Which obviously makes Julian and Olympia feel uncomfortable at this reference.
Incredibly awkward. Yeah.
Yes, and this ends their conversation. After she's gone, Julian asks what her next move is, and Olympia tells him about Madeline getting the sign-in sheet.
He's quite surprised to learn that Madeline went into the school, which Olympia immediately cottons onto.
Yes, I think she knows he's up to something, and he admits about asking Maddie to keep an eye on things.
And Olympia's clearly devastated that her friend has betrayed her.
This is it's quite a dick move by Julian here, like dropping Madeline in this.
Well, it was a dick move of him to bring her up in the first place.
Yeah, but even worse to then just drop her in it at the first.
Yeah. We then find Madeline almost in tears in a room by herself.
No, I think it's a crying patio again.
Is she on the patio?
Yeah.
I thought she was in the room because I looked at the bookshelf behind her.
Okay, maybe. Yeah, she's calling Edwin to tell him that the attachment, which she has in her hand, is not the file they were hoping for. Instead, it is a photo of Senior with a woman in Sydney, Australia, taken on the same day the Wellbrexa files disappeared.
Yes, so someone's forged his signature to sign for them, which means
that it's not Senior. Oh, he wasn't there.
For me, this brings Senior back into play, because before it was too obvious that it was Senior, but now he's been ruled out.
Yeah.
It makes it less obvious, so it means it's possible that it was him. So it could well be someone like Stuart who's forged his signature.
Sure, and apparently they realised that when Senior said it's handled, it was in relation to a personal thing.
Whilst on the phone, Edwin starts dropping little passive-aggressive lines on Madeline, thinking she won't realise he's being a dick.
I'm not sure. I think she realises what she's doing here, and she's he doesn't mean this, but she's just taking it as an insult, as a jibe at him, because
you'd have to be completely.
It's absolutely true here. We've discussed this before. She is obsessed. She's not living in the moment and looking after her grandson. She is now neglecting some of the big moments in her life to go after that. And Edwin said this to her face plenty of other times.
Yes, but the fact that he drops in the way she used to do this when Ellie was around, he would have to be, for him to not realise that would be a hurtful thing to say to her, he'd have to be completely emotionally stunted.
Maybe.
Which I don't think he is, from what we've seen elsewhere.
Yeah, I don't think he meant. Yeah, but I don't think he meant that.
I think he's annoyed at her for not showing up, and I think he's having a go.
Maybe.
I think he's trying to upset her.
Well, again, maybe.
I know maybe he's entitled to.
Yeah.
But I think it's a bit of a low blow. That was my take.
But maybe that is what she needs. Maybe it's a shock. Maybe it has to be more forthright with it.
Either way, what it does is it unleashes a torrent of pent-up anger from Madeline that she's obviously been sitting on for many years.
Yeah, so tell us how she responds.
Yeah, she insists that the reason that she always had to miss things when Ellie was alive and he didn't was because she organised their entire schedule around his work and his availability so that it was easy for him.
She then tearfully asks him to name Ellie's friends from 6th grade and lists them when he can't remember and tells him that she won't feel guilty for having a career, and then hangs up.
Yeah, so she's not going to accept his
guilt trip,
essentially, and the implication that she was a bad parent.
Yeah.
On the balcony now, Olympia joins Madeline, who is critical of her decision to light up a cigarette, or at least pull out a cigarette.
Yes.
In fact, we've seen this before. She likes to hold them but not light them, doesn't she?
Yeah, she says she's testing herself, or testing her own willpower, as betrayal triggers her.
Yeah, well, fair enough.
She tells her about Julian, asking her to keep her in check, and rhetorically asks if that was why she cancelled her doctor's appointment and went to the school with her.
She insists that it is not the case and she acted out of friendship, but Olympia's not buying it and walks away.
No, she snaps back that a friend would have told her and turns on her heel.
Absolutely right.
That night at the Kingston mansion, Madeline apologises to Alfie for missing his mock trial and is sad to hear that he doesn't mind and that the kids are mean to him there too. So it's quite pathetic and sad.
Yeah.
And,
but he doesn't seem to be, or he's not letting on, at least, if he's bothered by that. Because
No, but that makes it even sadder. The fact that he isn't bothered about not having friends or being bullied and thinking that the most important thing is this email attachment or whatever he's doing, that in itself, the fact that he doesn't realise that he shouldn't be thinking like this is sad.
Yeah, and that she's not helping him.
Yeah.
Anyway, he's also upset about the fact that the document wasn't the smoking gun that they were looking for.
Also, she's got email access now. You'd get through everything. It's not this one attachment. If you can access seniors' emails, surely you start searching for Brexit.
Well, they thought they'd nailed it, didn't they? They thought this was the one. A text comes in from Sarah with a list of the names from the PTA meeting.
Yes, who were linked to the park. I don't know what that means, linked to the park. Linked to what the parents whose nannies took the kids to the park.
I'm not sure. But we assume this is a group text because Olympia also receives it.
And this provides this week's Eureka moment as Madeline turns and asks Alfie if he wants to help in a real case.
Yes, and Olympia's input is that Lacey is on this list, despite having said she hadn't. This must be the folk who attended the PTA meeting, nothing to do with the park, eh?
Yeah.
Yeah, so I don't know where the park comes in, but the PTA meeting on the Monday included Lacey, who had just that morning told Olympia she hasn't been to the school for months.
Yes.
So she's exposed.
Sarah confirms her name was on the list, and she then picks up the matchbook and sees it's from a hotel. This is really, I'm not sure if I liked it or not. It's so old school, the matchbook. I mean, that's been used.
Do you still get those hotels?
No, I would have thought a hotel offer. No, in fact, there's absolutely zero chance a hotel is encouraging their patrons to be smoking. They don't allow them to smoke in the hotels. But it's just such a. I think maybe it's deliberate here. It's the old school clue to the 70s or prior to that.
Yeah, but kitsch maybe. But yes. Alfie via Madeline confirms that hotel is at the park where the photos were taken, which gives her an idea.
Well, I think Olympia says she knows what happened. And so the next morning, Madeline arrives at Olympia's house with a teddy, which she claims is a more useful peace offering in this particular situation. And we find out why when Lacey arrives a little later.
I am so sorry about this. James knows how dangerous matches are. Thank you for telling me. Is that it? Because you said it was important.
It is. I didn't want to call you down to the office, start rumors.
The office?
It's about my case, Nadira. I thought it was weird. You said you hadn't been to the school in months, but you signed in the day of the Eyes from Afar post.
Oh, I mean, maybe James forgot his lunch or something. I can't remember exactly.
Gotcha. Did you know the user account of the poster was registered to Tessa Talks? So either Tessa wrote it or someone who wanted to pin it on Tessa.
One of the nanny cams, maybe. They're constantly fighting.
Right, maybe. Oh, did you know that Tessa's husband, Mark, was having an affair?
I didn't.
Mm-hmm. In court, We would call these matches that came from your purse Exhibit A.
But we're not in court, right?
Hotel Boucher. That's where he and his mistress would go, apparently. Exhibit B. The hotel is directly across from the 96th Street playground, where Nadira Freeman took the McDoyle children. Exhibit C. The Yorkshire Building. Tessa's husband, Mark, is a listing agent. Right next to Hotel Boucher, also across from the park.
Everything's next to something and on top of another thing. It's New York.
Maybe, Lacey, but I asked Nadira if you and Mark Winters have been having an affair. Talk to me.
I don't really understand why Lacey used Tessa's email address. I don't understand firstly how it could be done unless it's really old technology. To sign up for a forum with someone's email address, they would send you a verification. But let's assume that wasn't the case. It would still send you an email to your account saying you've signed up for this. So she would be aware of this. And then why using Tessa's? Her motivation was to get Nadira sacked out of the way in case she talks about seeing them having an affair. So it's nothing to do with Tessa. She's not trying to blame, that's not her motivation.
The only thing I can think of is because Tessa's husband's involved. Maybe he had access to it. Maybe the account already existed.
But it's just bringing someone into it for no reason. Her motivation is not to get caught. Use a burner account, your own email, whatever. It doesn't make any sense to me.
I don't know.
Okay.
So, unless the website only verified people that knew to be parents or something, then I don't know.
But even that, there's no need for her to be doing this. Just create a...
Well, there's more that I don't understand as well. Who's taking these photos on? How did she know that the nanny was going to do something she could take images of? Because the hotel's in the background, so it's not when she's coming out of the hotel.
Yeah.
So how is it connected? So the giveaway to Olympia is that this hotel's next to the park where the nanny goes. But the photographs aren't taken at the same time.
No.
So she goes to the park all the time?
Yeah, they must take I suppose it's eyes from afar. It's a spying website. So you, as the employee of the nannies, will tell this website, or is it?
No, someone has to take the photos.
And then put it up.
Yeah. And how did she know there would be photos that would allow her to...
It's who took the photos.
Yeah. Presumably Lacey did. But how did she know she would be able to do that? That's a really weird strategy. It's like, she might have seen me leaving here with her husband, so I'm going to wait here till she comes back another day and get a photo of her abusing a child.
Yeah. And why would you post it anonymously? If you're one of the parents taking pictures of these nannies, you don't have to. It's not... You just go and confront them and say, I've got pictures here. Why all that? I don't know.
Well, she's supposed to, because it's not her nanny, it's somebody else's nanny that she wants the other person to fire her.
The service in general.
Yeah, no, I don't know.
Why would you? It just seems, again, they're just causing drama.
Doesn't make a lot of sense
to me. They're bored, soccer mom types, nothing better to do than create drama by having these pictures up.
It still doesn't make sense to me, I still don't understand how this has happened. Even if, given all of that, I still don't get it.
Yeah. Anyway, faced with this evidence, Lacey first checks Olympia's phone to make sure she is not recording, and then admits that she made a mistake, but the affair is over.
Yeah, sure it is.
She reveals Nadira saw them leaving the hotel and that she wanted to get her fired and out of the picture so that she wouldn't gossip with the other nannies, which is very unlikely that if she was that type, that this would prevent her.
Yeah, it's like, well, we can't talk to her, she got fired.
Yeah, she doesn't have a phone or anything else.
She didn't mean to ruin her life, apparently, but Olympia then has a big reveal.
Well, yeah, I think Olympia is quite disgusted and tells her that Nadira didn't even see them and that she did all this for nothing, and threatens that if she doesn't come forward herself, she will do so.
But Lacey knows the law.
Well, she begs her not to, and then says she'll deny it.
Yes, and also Olympia can't testify as the attorney for the plaintiff.
But Olympia simply points to her newly acquired nanny cam.
The Teddy, yeah.
And we have a good old-fashioned Hollywood ending with Olympia, Madeline and Nadira clinking champagne glasses as we hear that Miss Charlotte has offered her job back.
Well, she corrects it to just Charlotte.
Yes.
Because she's no longer her servant or slave. I don't really understand that part.
Yeah, she laughs as she tells him that she rejected the offer as the settlement money meant that she can bring her own kids over from wherever they are.
Yeah, it sounded like maybe the Caribbean from her accent, but who knows. Billy, at this point, in the same room but not part of the same conversation, thanks Sarah for talking some sense into him, and they agree to start grinding again.
Not in a sexual way.
Well, no.
Yeah, sorry, at this point, Olympia, the clinking glasses, and she says, the settlement money, I'm going to spend it on this and bring my kids over, and Olympia hands over the invoice.
Yeah.
Don't think so.
No money left, yeah. In Olympia's office, Madeline and Olympia reconcile as Madeline spins her another line about why she was off the day before.
What was that?
She was lying to her, but not about what Julian said. It was because she didn't have a doctor's appointment. She had to go and see Alfie's thing at the school, and that's why things were a little bit weird. And Olympia then says, you shouldn't miss anything that your kids have.
Well, I think that this is genuine. So Madeline talks about how when she was younger, at the start of her career, that in this, especially in this type of environment, for this type of work, women were meant to pretend they didn't have families because it was seen as a weakness.
But I don't believe for a minute that Madeline thinks it's still like that.
No, but she's referencing, I think maybe she was, get like her in the Alex case, when she was brought up thinking, well, you just got on with being touched and groped and harassed. I think that was genuine. I think this might be still an old-fashioned attitude that, women don't say, I need time off for
I just don't believe a thing that she says.
No, she's a compulsive, she's a devious liar. And whilst I do believe it, you're right, I err on the side of caution. Everything she says, I assume is a lie.
Yeah, and that she knows more than she's letting on. Yeah. However, they do get their hug that they were talking about for no reason earlier on.
And so this other bit sort of not annoyed me, but Olympia tells Madeline that she has lost people recently and that she means something to her, Madeline, which must make Madeline feel horribly guilty. But all I could think of was, who have you lost recently? You've gained Julian back, and you may have lost him, but that's your decision. He was being honest.
Well.
Yeah,
but
okay.
That was
a while ago,
a while ago.
So it's not recently. You lost Elijah, but you dumped him so that you could get back with Julian.
Yeah.
So you've not lost anything. It's, other than things that it's your choice.
Yeah.
She's at it.
Yeah. Up in Julian's office, Madeline stops by briefly to explain that she wasn't doing what he asked when she helped Olympia calm down, and after knocking all his pens over to ruin her big speech, she explains that she was working for Olympia because she's loyal to Olympia, and if she's working for Julian, she'll be loyal to Julian. He can expect that when he brings her in. That
night, Edwin asks if she thinks he trusts her.
Julian, that is, yeah. She's not sure. And he then sort of non-apologises for if she felt bad.
Yeah, and admits that he didn't know that she remembered every single thing that she missed. So his assumption was, I thought you just didn't care.
Yeah. I was just trying to upset you, I'm sorry. I mean, and if you don't like that, then...
Yeah. Alfie enters, and we see that Madeline always has an ulterior agenda, as we have a flashback to her knocking over the pens and are shown a new scene of her hiding an audio recording pen down the back of his chair.
However, they then get an bizarrely clear recording of Julian from the pen.
Yeah, it's like the time when she had the AI, Stuart's AI, or Senior's AI recording. It wouldn't be possible. But no. So when Alfie found, or I was looking for the Teddy cam, he also found on that site, one of these gadget spy sites, these spy pens.
Probably Amazon.
Yes.
Yes, and they've used this and they've got this recording, so they sit down to listen to it. And
what is it?
Initially quite amused to hear Julian apologising for not listening to Olympia and saying that they should change this kid's school. But Madeline then has to quickly stop the recording when Julian is asked by Olympia who he's been sleeping with.
Indeed.
And that's the end. Mm-hmm. Not as big a mid-season cliffhanger as I was expecting, more of a sort of a reset, really. So my concern, Billy and Sarah are being sidelined in the show and being reduced to comic relief.
I'm hoping it's only for a few episodes and we'll get back on track because they're very good together. I think more scenes with them is...
and Sarah's personality has gone from being quirky and interesting to being laughed at.
She's playing a comedy character here. She's some sort of nympho now when it comes to Kira. And yeah, it's just all a bit weird. But
I really like them. This is why I don't like this happening to them. They were written really well at the start.
Well, I think it's fair that Billy's went through a change here. He's had this life-changing humiliation.
Yes.
So I think writing him in a different way, it's not out of character. If that happened, then you expect him to feel down. Sarah, that has sort of really just, it's not who she was. I don't mind it, but it's just different and it's too wacky, I think. Yeah, too as you say, too
They need to
comedy.
go back and watch the first few episodes and put them back, or at least put Sarah back the way she was.
But their relationship has developed that sort of friendship
that's good.
and warmth. It has been good, yeah.
Quickly, the main case in this episode, which is a little bit more loosey-goosey than in previous episodes, but it was a defamation claim, really, by Nadira Freeman, who's a nanny, against a school parent who posted photographs online and made allegations of abuse against her. Although it wasn't ever clear that they said anything about abuse. Did they just put the photos up? I don't know. The case was resolved when it turned out a friend of Olympia's called Lacey Milner was having an affair with the husband of one of the other school moms and had posted the photos to try and get Nadira fired and force her to leave the area after thinking she had witnessed her with her lover when they left a restaurant. The case was settled for enough money that Nadira was able to turn down immediate employment and bring her kids to stay with her in New York.
Some production information.
Okay.
Very little this week. We do, however, have a new director, Yang Zom Braun, born in 1981 in Switzerland. Has also directed 911 Lone Star, NCIS Hawaii, NCIS Los Angeles, American Horror Story, FBI, Station 19, Law and Order, Magnum and MacGyver. And also a new writer, but with a very tiny CV, certainly in terms of TV or movies. The sex lives of college girls and kindling are all I can find, really.
Can you tell us their name?
Oh, did I not mention? Sheridan Watson.
Okay.
The cast: Nadira, Ashley Romans. She has been in Y, The Last Man, which is Y: The Last Man.
Okay.
Shameless. This one here, I'm not sure how to read it or pronounce it. NOS4A2. I imagine that stands for something. Or
Nosferatu.
Nosferatu. Ah, yeah. Okay, very good, yes. Hermione Granger and the Quarter Life Crisis. I'm Dying Up Here and Genius. Judge Caggiano. Now, you may be able to guess a connection here when I tell your name. Rachel Carson Begley.
She related to Ed.
Indeed. Born in the 4th of October 1960, she has been married to Ed Begley Jr. since 2000. She has also appeared in But I'm a Cheerleader, The Bling Ring, Cobra Kai, Better Call Saul, guest appearances, Boston Legal, NYPD Blue, 8 Simple Rules, and Freddy's Nightmares, amongst others. Lacey was played by Catherine Moudon. She's an actor and apparently improviser. And you may have seen her work on Dollface, UCB Comedy Originals, Hillary Clinton, Broad City, or Tales of the City. And finally, and the reason I'm including this is simply because of her name, which I don't believe. So the school receptionist.
Okay.
Her name is Greenberry Lucas. Greenberry apparently is a name these days.
Okay.
Yeah, anyway. She has been in SKDG, again, I don't know how to pronounce this, SKADGES, Sketches, Vampire Vlad, The Chunky Zeta, Gig Shoes, and The Real Murders of Orange County.
There you go.
What we got next week? Do you have any trivia?
Not this week.
Okay, what's next?
Next week, Madeline and Olympia work on a case that's got some family connections in an episode called Friends.
Okay, until then,
cheerio.
Bye-bye.